It's Monday, May 14th. This is Castanet's Evening Update. I'm Wayne Moore. At the top of the news, 2018 just may go down as the worst flooding a southeast Kelowna farmer has ever seen. Ron McMillan's family has lived on McMillan Farms along the banks of Mission Creek since 1950. Last week, more than 35 acres were flooded in 2 to 4 feet of water as the creek spilled its banks. McMillan says the creek needs to be dredged, and he wonders why the city stopped doing so a few years ago. The BC River Forecast Centre expects Mission Creek to peak again on Friday. Police needed a taser to arrest a drunk motorcyclist in Summerland over the weekend. The rider took off when police tried to stop him. Soon after, he crashed and ran away on foot. The man was taken to hospital with minor injuries after his arrest. The man behind Green Party support for Liberal candidate Stephen Fuhr in 2015 says the cooperation between parties was grassroots democracy at its finest. The Commissioner of Canada Elections said last week the use of signs purchased by the Greens in support of Fuhr in Kelowna Lake Country constituted a non-monetary contribution to Fuhr's campaign and thus violated the Canada Elections Act. But Dan Ryder says since it was a first in Canadian politics, it isn't surprising that Elections Canada and the Elections Act contained no language specifically applying to it. He says it was understood Greens could wave signs at a Liberal roadside event without contravening the act. But Elections Canada was concerned the parties could possibly get around campaign spending limits through such a deal. In other Green Party news, federal Green leader Elizabeth May and NDP MP Kennedy Stewart have both been charged over their participation in an anti-pipeline protest in Burnaby in March. The politicians face charges of criminal contempt of court. The BC Prosecution Service announced on Monday Stewart pleaded guilty to the charge and was handed a $500 fine. May has yet to comment on the charges. He and May were arrested March 23rd during a protest against the Trans Mountain pipeline expansion outside of Kinder Morgan Terminal in Burnaby. Knox Mountain will be shut down this weekend for the 61st annual Knox Mountain Hill Climb. That means race organizers are looking for volunteers. Committee members say they are in desperate need of volunteers for this year's event. If you can help, check out their website at knoxmountainhillclimb.ca. Regional District of Okanagan's Similkameen recommending residents with livestock, medical conditions, or mobility challenges evacuate immediately from areas along the Similkameen River. There are concerns a second river peak this week could close Highway 3 in multiple areas, stranding some residents. The BC River Forecast Centre expects flows near Headley to hit 880 cubic meters a second on Friday. The RDOS says residents in alert areas should prepare for an evacuation order in the upcoming days. Used needles left in Kelowna parks are becoming a concern as tourist season nears. Needles and drug paraphernalia were left on Knox Mountain Friday and more at City Park over the weekend. Dan Biles says he fished a used needle out of the water at City Park and another just feet away from playing children. If you find a needle, call the Downtown Kelowna Association or the City of Kelowna. A woman accused of several arsons in the Armstrong area will fix a date for a bail hearing on May 16th. The court is waiting for results of a mental health assessment until a decision is made in the case of 60-year-old Colette Levino, who remains in custody facing 4 counts of arson in relation to inhabited property. Finally, experts are warning that a second wave of flooding could be on its way this week. In Grand Forks, 3,000 people remain on evacuation alert or evacuation order. Vernon Search and Rescue's helicopter winch team helped out over the weekend and shared these aerial images. VSA's Jeremy Vanderkerkhoff says basically hundreds of homes are underwater. Premier John Horgan called the flooding a once-in-a-century event. Your 5-day forecast, hot and sunny for the next few days. Highs to reach 32 on Tuesday. We could get some rain Thursday and Friday leading into the long weekend. Coming up tonight and tomorrow, a Kelowna water project, $22 million over budget, and an update on construction of Tourism Kelowna's new tourist centre. For details on these and the rest of the day's news, keep it here at castanet.net. For Castanet News, I'm Wayne Moore.